Hey everyone, welcome to the deep dive. If you're anything like me, you're on that constant quest for optimal health and fitness. But let's be honest, it's a jungle out there, isn't it? So much information, so many conflicting ideas, especially when it comes to something as fundamental as protein. There's just this constant buzz. An endless debate online about which source truly reigns supreme. Today, our mission is to cut through all that noise. We're taking a comprehensive deep dive, analyzing the science, sifting through the claims, and uncovering what truly makes a protein king for your health and well being. We've pulled together a fantastic stack of sources for this, a mix of scientific articles, fresh research, and even a fascinating real world experiment. This should really help us understand the nutritional profile, sustainability, and, well, the practical side of various protein options. Before we jump into the fascinating details, a quick note. For more great information like this, be sure to visit mindexpansiondaily.com. Please like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily to join our growing global community. And look, if you appreciate the insights and value we're sharing today, consider supporting the show by buying us a coffee. The link is right there in the description. It really helps us keep doing this. As we unpack these sources, here's a challenge for you, our listener. Think about your own protein choices. Do you agree or disagree with our take on what makes a protein king? Drop a comment below with your thoughts and tell us where you're tuning in from. Seriously, we're aiming to reach the world.
That's a powerful challenge, and it really underscores why we do these deep dives. Because, while the sheer volume of information can be overwhelming, the core principles of critical thinking remain absolutely essential. Our goal today is really to connect the dots between these diverse sources, helping you see the broader picture and make truly informed decisions for yourself. So, let's set the stage for this protein showdown.
Let's do it. So when we talk about protein, it's far more than just something for gym buffs, right? It's truly the cornerstone of health and fitness, essential for everything from muscle growth and repair to countless other vital bodily functions. It really is foundational.
It absolutely is. So protein provides 4 calories per gram, and it serves as the fundamental building block for everything, from your muscles to essential enzymes and hormones. Now, the recommended dietary allowance, the RDA, it's set at 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight for most adults. But, and this is crucial to understand, for athletes and active individuals, those needs jump significantly. A 2023 Journal of Sports Medicine study, for instance, found that active folks need somewhere between 1.2 and 2.0 grams per kilogram. It's a huge jump.
That is a huge difference. And when you look at the sheer scale of choices out there, it's no wonder people get overwhelmed. The global protein supplement market alone is hitting, a staggering $38.36 billion in 2024. And a 2024 Statista survey noted that 60% of adults are using protein supplements. 60%. And that's before you even get into the countless whole food options, animal-based, plant-based. It really highlights the sheer volume of choices. So with all that choice, why is there still so much confusion?
That's the big question, isn't it? Well, one major factor is just the prevalence of misconceptions. So many myths out there. Many people still firmly believe animal proteins are inherently superior for muscle growth, right? While others are convinced plant proteins are incomplete and just can't deliver the same benefits. And then there's this idea that supplements are basically a must for anyone serious about fitness, when whole foods often offer a much broader spectrum of benefits. We even saw this play out recently, a 2024 X post that got 12,000 likes, sparking this heated debate specifically over whey versus pea protein. It really underscores the confusion we're trying to clarify here.
Yeah, that post perfectly illustrates the ongoing showdown.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's dive into some of the heavy hitters, starting with the animal-based proteins. First up, whey protein, the undisputed gym favorite. What makes it so popular?
Well, whey protein, which comes from milk, is indeed a powerhouse. Its nutritional profile is pretty impressive. It's typically 80 to 90% protein by weight, and crucially, it's rich in branched-chain amino acids, or BCAAs, particularly leucine. Now, this matters because leucine is key for muscle building. A 2023 nutrient study showed that whey can boost muscle protein synthesis. That's basically the process your body uses to build and repair muscle by as much as 30% post-workout. That makes it incredibly effective for immediate recovery.
Right, that quick digestion is exactly what makes it so ideal for post-workout. And in terms of accessibility, a 30-gram scoop, which gives you about 25 grams of protein, costs around, $1 to $2. So if you're using it daily, that's roughly $30 to $60 a month. Makes it a pretty accessible option for many people. So the key takeaway for whey, it's like the undisputed sprint champion for muscle repair, especially right after intense exercise.
But it isn't without its challenges, right? Exactly. One notable drawback is digestion for some people. A 2024 digestive health report indicated about 10% of users experience bloating. usually because of the lactose content. That's a significant consideration for, well, a decent chunk of the population.
Yeah.
I think many of us can probably relate to that statistic on bloating, maybe myself included. It just shows that even the gym favorite isn't perfect for everyone.
Right. So for some, whey might be a fast track to recovery, but it definitely has its specific challenges. Does that mean we should just write off dairy altogether? Or is there another side to that coin, like casein?
Absolutely. Let's talk about casein. It's also milk-based, but it works completely differently, sometimes called the slow burn.
Mm.
The key difference with casein is its slower digestion rate. See, it forms a kind of gel in the stomach, which leads to the sustained release of amino acids into the bloodstream over several hours. This makes it particularly effective for overnight muscle repair. One 2023 study actually showed about 20% better muscle retention in athletes who used it.
Okay, so it's more of a marathon protein then, perfect for taking before bed maybe. But just like whey, if you're one of the, 15% of adults with lactose intolerance, according to a 2024 NIH report, casein isn't going to work for you either. And stepping back for a moment, beyond personal digestion, there's also an environmental consideration for both whey and casein, isn't there? What's the bigger picture there?
That's a really crucial point. When we look at sustainability, dairy farming, which is where both whey and casein come from, has a pretty notable footprint. A 2023 FAO study pointed out that dairy farming emits roughly 4 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of protein produced. This certainly raises a question about the broader environmental impact of these really popular choices, especially as we think about feeding a growing world.
4 kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a significant number for sure. So what about the other side of the coin then? Let's dive into the world of plant-based proteins. Starting with pea protein, it seems like it's emerged as a really strong contender, especially for folks looking for alternatives.
Pea protein, yeah, it comes from yellow peas, and it's an excellent plant-based option. It boasts an impressive, 80% protein by weight. And it's naturally hypoallergenic, which makes it suitable for individuals with dairy sensitivities. That's a big plus. It's rich in lysine, which is great, but it is a bit lower in methionine. So what this means is, to get complete amino acid profile, basically all the essential building blocks your body can't make itself, you typically need to combine it with grains. But interestingly, a 2024 plant food study found that pea protein supports muscle growth comparably to whey. They saw that 25 grams daily increased muscle mass by 15% over 12 weeks. Pretty good.
And from a cost perspective, it's pretty competitive too, right? Ranging from about $0.80 to $1.50 CEF. So the key takeaway for pea protein, it's a fantastic dairy-free option for muscle growth. Just maybe be mindful of pairing it to get that full amino acid spectrum.
Right.
What about other plant-based options that are gaining traction? Rice protein.
Yes. Rice protein is another increasingly popular one, usually derived from brown rice. It typically contains between 70 to 80% protein, and is particularly known for being easily digestible, which is a plus for many people. A 2023 trial even showed that rice protein matched whey in strength gains for about 80% of participants, which is quite impressive for a plant-based alternative.
That is a compelling statistic, but like pea protein, I'm guessing there's also an amino acid caveat, a missing piece?
You're right on track. It is worth noting that it's low in lysine. So similar to pea protein, it pairs really well with the legumes to create a complete amino acid profile, think rice and beans. I mean, it's a classic combination for a very good reason. They complement each other.
Okay, makes sense. And beyond the individual nutritional profiles, what's the environmental story for these plant-based proteins? I imagine it's quite different from dairy.
Oh, it's a stark contrast. Plant-based proteins emit only about 0.4 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of protein. That's remarkable, 10 times less than dairy. This sustainability factor is clearly resonating. We saw a 2024 X post with 10,000 likes specifically praising pea protein sustainability. It's a really significant win for the planet.
10 times less.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we've talked about powders, whey, casein, pea, rice. But what about just food? Let's shift our focus to whole foods, the natural choice for protein. We're talking about things like chicken, which gives you about 27 grams of protein per 100 grams, or lentils, packing 9 grams, and eggs, about 6 grams per egg. And crucially, they offer balanced nutrition beyond just protein.
Exactly. Beyond just the protein numbers, what often gets overlooked is the sheer nutrient density. Take eggs, for instance. They're not just protein. They're packed with essential vitamins like D and B12. They provide this holistic nutritional benefit that supplements simply can't replicate. You're getting a whole package of goodness, not just one isolated nutrient.
And let's talk cost effectiveness, especially maybe from a global perspective. This is where Whole Foods really shine, I think. Taking the Philippines as an example again. You can get a kilogram of chicken for about 200 php. That's roughly $3.60, giving you 270 grams of protein. Now compare that to a 2 kilogram tub of whey protein that costs about $30. It's a huge difference. Or lentils at 50 php, that's like 90 cents per kilogram, yielding 90 grams of protein. That makes them something like 80% cheaper than supplements, according to 2024 market data. And eggs at 7 php or $0.13 each. I mean, incredibly economical.
That's a really compelling case for Whole Foods financially. But it does make me wonder, if Whole Foods are so good and often more affordable, why aren't they everyone's first choice? Well, one practical consideration is preparation time. Let's be honest, it takes longer. A 2024 nutrition survey found that prep time was a barrier for 30% of busy professionals. Life gets in the way. And we also need to consider bioavailability. That's how well the body can actually absorb and use the protein. Animal proteins tend to absorb at about 90%, while plant proteins are a bit lower, ranging from 70 to 80%.
Okay, so while Whole Foods offer this nutrient jackpot and can be incredibly economical, the trade-off is often time and maybe slightly lower absorption for plant sources. But for those plant sources, the power of combination is key, right? We've mentioned that. Combining sources like rice and beans effectively achieves complete amino acid profiles. That was backed up by a 2023 Nutrition Reviews study. It's a simple strategy that works.
Absolutely. And this isn't just about nutrition in a vacuum. Looking at the broader impact, Whole Foods also have this rich cultural appeal. A 2024 X post with 8,000 shares highlighted Filipino adobo as a protein-packed meal. It showcases how these natural choices are woven into our culinary traditions worldwide. Food is definitely more than just fuel. It's culture, too. It connects us.
Okay, so we've weighed the pros and cons of individual sources: animal, plant, Whole Foods. Now let's tackle the big question that kind of looms over all of this: supplements versus Whole Foods. What's the optimal balance here? I mean, for many, the primary appeal of supplements boils down to one word: convenience.
Right.
It's a 30-second shake versus, I don't know, 30 minutes of meal prep. A 2024 Fitness Journal study even found that 50% of gym goers prefer supplements just for that post-workout ease. It's just faster.
That convenience factor is powerful, no doubt.
Yeah.
There's a clear trade-off. While supplements offer that speed at, say, $1 to $2 per serving, a simple chicken and rice meal can cost as little as 0 or 50s to $1. But maybe more crucially, supplements often lack the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals that Whole Foods naturally provide. That whole package we talked about. A 2023 health study actually showed that 20% of regular supplement users reported nutrient deficiencies, which really highlights this potential gap.
All right.
You're often buying just protein.
Right, not the full symphony, as you said. So Whole Foods aren't just cheaper in many cases, but they're also generally more sustainable. Chicken and lentils, for instance, emitting 50% less CO2 than processed protein powders. This starts to paint a clear picture of where the winner might lie, if there is one.
And stepping back for a moment, looking at the expert view. The consensus among dietitians, according to a 2024 consensus report, suggests that a balanced diet, aiming for around 60% whole foods and maybe 40% supplements, is probably the optimal strategy for overall nutrition for most active people. This also aligns with another 2024 X post, this one with 15,000 likes, where the debate often favored whole foods for their affordability when people were discussing supplement costs. So the data, the experts, and even public sentiment seem to point towards this kind of hybrid approach, not all or nothing.
Which brings us perfectly to a really practical, real-world application: my protein experiment. We had a listener conduct a 1-month protein experiment right there in Manila, and their findings are super relatable and actionable. Okay, so first, they tried a daily 30-gram whey shake. Cost them about $1 a day. It definitely boosted their gym recovery. They saw a 10% strength gain, but they also experienced that mild bloating we mentioned earlier. Okay, then they switched to a pea protein shake. Cost was lower, $0.80 mixed with rice milk. This was much gentler on their stomach, sustained their energy well, though they did note it was maybe a little less palatable than the whey. Taste is subjective, of course. Finally, they incorporated whole foods: chicken adobo at about $0.70 a meal, and lentil stew at $0.50. These were delicious, filling, nutrient-rich, but yeah, the prep time was significant. About 2 hours weekly dedicated just to that. I know my kitchen sometimes looks like a science lab on meal prep day, so I can relate. So what was the verdict from their personal experiment? What worked best? A mix. A mix of 50% whole foods like the chicken and lentils and 50% pea protein. It not only optimized their nutrition and how they felt, but it also saved them $20 monthly compared to just sticking with whey alone. A true victory in their personal protein showdown.
And what's really striking here is how this individual experience, this N1 experiment, actually resonates with broader trends.
Remember that 2024 X post with 9,000 likes? It echoed this exact preference for mixed sources. It shows a commonality in the effectiveness of this hybrid approach. And looking at the broader implications, adopting a balanced protein approach like this, it has potentially huge, far-reaching effects. Economically, just reducing reliance on costly supplements could save an estimated $500 billion globally. That's according to a 2024 economic forecast. $500 billion? Environmentally, if plant-based proteins are adopted by even, say, 25% of fitness enthusiasts, we could see a 10% cut in food emissions, as estimated by a 2023 FAO report, a significant dent. And beyond economics and environment, there are real social and local benefits too. In the Philippines, for instance, promoting local legumes could boost farmer incomes by 15%, supporting maybe 1 million rural households. And community kitchens, like those in Manila, could potentially scale this model, feeding maybe 10% more low-income families by making these nutrient-rich, affordable protein sources more accessible.
It connects all these dots.
So when we boil it all down, what does this all mean? The core conclusion from all our sources seems pretty clear. There's no single protein source that truly reigns supreme across the board. It's not that simple. Whey excels for quick muscle recovery, sure. Pea protein stands out for its sustainability. And whole foods are just unbeatable for affordability and that complete comprehensive nutrition. It's not about finding one king, is it? It's more like having a diverse royal court.
That's a great way to put it. The optimized approach, as supported by the data and that listener experiment, really is a balanced diet. Mixing approximately 60% whole foods like that chicken and lentils example with maybe 40% plant-based supplements seems to give you the best of all worlds for many people. This strategy not only optimizes your health, but it could save you $20 to $30 monthly and contribute to cutting food emissions by 10%. It's kind of a win-win-win scenario.
So what really stands out to me from this deep dive? Our listeners' Manila experiment, backed by that 15,000 likes X post. It just proves that variety is absolutely key. It's really about finding what works best for your body, your budget, and your values. It's personal. So here's our final challenge for you listening. What's your favorite protein source? And maybe just as importantly, where are you tuning in from? We really want to hear your thoughts and see how far the deep dive is reaching. Drop a comment below and help Mind Expansion Daily go global. And be sure to watch or listen to our next deep dive, where we'll explore healthy eating habits more broadly. Thanks for joining us.